Boat.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Good morning.
The man with the triple platinum tongue.
Do I have a triple platinum tongue? No.
The viral virtuoso.
Viral virtuoso? No.
The dynamite from down under.
Dynamite from down under? Definitely not American.
He is the moment maker.
The moment maker. Am I the moment maker? Not really.
The Aussie icon.
Yeah, not an Aussie icon. No, joking around. How's it going today? Rhino with you, here to catch you up this morning on what's going on with the Kings before I head out to the practice facility. And the Kings wrap up their last practice before heading to Phoenix. NFL season's going, but the NBA season kicks off tonight. NBC, Peacock. You have Houston and the Thunder. Thunder are going to get their rings. I'm sure those are going to be pretty cool. And Golden State and the Lakers. No LeBron James in that game. Look, I got to be real with you. I am on an unplanned cleanse right now. And the latter half of the day yesterday was so hard to get through. I fought through like a champ. So we're going with the bland diet today. I'm trying to get my energy up. If you know, we go as long as the coffee stays hot. So I need coffee. I'm probably going to perk right up with the coffee. So I'm here for it. Questions that you may have about this team, anything that I've been seeing, we can talk about what to expect headed into Phoenix. You know, one of the things that's very important for a basketball team is roles. You have to have roles. And if you look at the best teams in the NBA, let's take the two that were in the finals, because they were legitimately the best teams in the NBA last year. The Indiana Pacers and the Thunder. Those two teams had incredible role players. In fact, they had role players that embraced their roles, that became into stars in their roles. So that's how important I think roles are in the NBA. And when Doug Christie took over as the interim coach last year for the Kings, you know, we had been asking the question, well, what's this guy's role? What's that guy's role? Because he doesn't touch the ball for 24 minutes and then he's expected to make threes. Or why did, sometimes it was Keon, other times it was Valanciunas. Why did he only play 6 minutes, right? Like, so what are the roles? Never happened under Mike Brown. He never really laid those out. It's a team concept. We're all in. Well, when Doug Christie took over, he lined everybody up and he said, this is going to be your role on the team. This is going to be your role on the team. And I get roles change. I know that those grow. They transform depending on who's available and who's not, who's playing well, who's playing bad. But at least you know what to expect. And I remember Kevin Huerter coming out when he was still here and saying, I love it. And what I'm playing, the time that I'm playing, now I know when to expect it. I know what is expected of me when I come in the game. Mentally, I can prepare for that. So anyways, we found out yesterday, and we'll play the audio here in a little bit, that Doug finally lined him up yesterday, which makes sense. You go through the preseason, you get to the practice, the first practice after a day off, and you're preparing for the first of 82. He went down and told everybody their roles. Now, I don't know if he did that as a team or if he did it in private, but I sure as heck would like to know what he told Keon Ellis. Keon Ellis is a guy to me that is going to have to play some minutes. As we sit today, believe that Dennis Schroeder is going to be kind of the odd man out as we get to the All-Star break. I think Schroeder will be your starter. Russell will probably show that he's better on the court than Schroeder. And you're going to have like a situation with Kevin Huerter where Schroeder starts the game and then he starts the third quarter and then you don't really see him after that. I just think you have too many better guys right now that are behind him. Guys that when you leave them on the floor, like if you bring Keon in for 8 minutes, not nearly as effective as when you give him 15, 20, 25 minutes. He had 20 points in 18 minutes against the Lakers before the injury. It was either before or after the injury. I think it was right before. It was before because he hit the three. He got beat getting back and he tried to get the block. And that's when he got hurt. So you've got to give him runway. What about Malik Monk? Devin Carter, I think we can kind of count out, which stinks because I think Devin's had a really good summer, especially after Summer League. I just think Dennis might be the odd man out. And who knows? Maybe it's Malik Monk, or not Malik Monk, but Russell Westbrook. His deal is non-guaranteed. But what I do know is if I'm right, and Schroeder is kind of that guy that, isn't playing well, but still starting. Scott Perry and Doug Christie are going to have an interesting discussion because if Westbrook is getting more minutes than Schroeder, and it's clear to the fans that maybe Westbrook should be in the starting lineup, and I know we're getting way far ahead of ourselves, but it's something that's realistic. This could be coming sooner rather than later with how many guards there are on this roster and Doug Christie finally having to navigate it for 82 games. For Scott Perry to have to see Dennis Schroeder being paid $17 million a year, not playing well, and having Russell Westbrook, who was out there too, that you get on a non-guaranteed contract, that is pie on the face. So I hope all of that doesn't come to fruition to where everybody or Dennis isn't playing well. I'm not hoping that on him. But if you look at the body of work, and by the way, Dennis yesterday was not a participant in any of the parts of practice with contact due to the foot or the ankle. The Kings didn't really clarify, or at least I did not hear from Shannon if it was the foot or the ankle. It looked like it was kind of the foot. He got stepped on in LA. So really interesting dynamic there. One thing's for sure to me, Nique Clifford is going to be the source of fun for this season. The things that are being said by some of these vets about Nique, that's not said normally about rookies. And I said on Friday on the post-game show, and I stand by it, Nique is or has the best court vision for a rookie that I have seen since Tyrese Halliburton. And then just wait until you hear some of the things that Coach Christie says yesterday, that DeMar DeRozan says yesterday, that we will get to as the show goes along. So let's get to you and see what you have to say. I want to say what's up to the chat. By the way, massive thank you to WWE superstar Grayson Waller for coming in yesterday to the studio. The AWS crash. Come on. I know that affected probably some of you in some way, because I know it was Apple Music, it was TikTok. Come on, it affected our streaming software, so I could not stream it live. We tried to get it up as much as we could. So it is out there for consumption if you want, but Grayson could not have been any cooler. And we had a really good conversation that spanned many topics beyond wrestling. So anyways, big thanks to him. Thanks to Stephanie with the WWE and also Izzy. Ryan, check your messages. Sent a Nick report. I will do that here in a little bit. The coffee is hot. Good. Yes, my coffee is hot. My coffee is not homemade. And I'm trying to pin down what my mistake was. because sometime on Saturday I made a mistake. So maybe you guys can help me. It might have been the first thing that I did on Saturday. I realized, so I go to make coffee. Usually I'll set it up the night before. And I didn't, and I throw the filter out and I realize, oh my gosh, that's my last filter. So what do you think old Rhino does? What do you think I did? Am I going to go without coffee, or am I going to grab that filter out of the trash, which was technically sheltered by a cardboard box that was not dirty, wash it out and use it again? I did that. I did the second. I used it again. So maybe that is what caused my stomach issue. What else Saturday? Could it have been the Korean barbecue? I think that's the prime culprit. I think it was the Korean barbecue. Not going to say from where. But anyways, hence, I have not gotten coffee filters yet, which means I had to run up to a local diner that's right by the house and get a couple cups of coffee. It's not bad coffee. And then I got a tiny little breakfast because I'm going to try to go with the bland diet today. I don't want to go crazy because then you know what I did? So Saturday was pretty much fine, but then Sunday I'm not feeling 100%. Little man wants to go to Leatherby's for dinner. I am lactose intolerant, so I am not indulging in the ice cream. And my wife is like, well, you got to have a bite. You got to have one bite. And she's like putting it like right there in my face. So I take a little bite of that, but I don't think the little bite of ice cream sent me off track. But I will say this, the chili cheese fries, which were delicious, did not help the issue. You know, I thought like maybe I'm not feeling great, go for the chili cheese fries. Yeah, that probably didn't help. So anyways, we're going bland. We're drinking coffee. We're here till it gets cold. What's up, Dorian? Love that y'all are checking in with each other. Why was Dennis a non-contact? Will he play tomorrow? Guru, I don't know if you remember, but it was the third quarter in LA where he got his foot stepped on. Forget who it was that stepped on his foot. It might have been Hashimura, as the G-Man has taught us. And he went to the locker room, came back, ended up coming back in the game. I think it's too early. I mean, the Kings have not released anything on it. Let me double check right now, see if there's an injury report out for tomorrow. I highly doubt it, but we will check. But yes, that is why he was a no contact participant yesterday. I doubt the injuries are out yet. And if they are, they're not going to be super accurate. As we check really quick. And by the way, the NBA is one of the worst at injury reporting. As of right now, Isaac Jones is a game time decision. Schroeder is a game time decision. Sabonis out. Russell Westbrook, game time decision. Expect him to play. And DeMar DeRozan, he'll be playing as well. So there you go. There you go. According to ESPN.com. By the way, The Athletic came out with one bold prediction for every team this year. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. Oh, and before we get too far, I just got to I got to vent here a little bit. You remember last week when we played the Instagram sound of Vivek in his post, hey, back from summer, time to get back to work. And then the next day, Russ gets, it basically comes out that he's going to get signed. It's pretty much a done deal, minus the signature. Yesterday, Vivek went back to the IG. And it is a holiday. that he celebrates, and he's explaining the holiday. And I mean, he is literally explaining the reason for the holiday, what it's supposed to bring, and it is the exact things that he doesn't do. And I just keep this to yourself. Like, how tone deaf are you? Do you think the fans of Sacramento that you have not stood in front of for coming up on a year, do you think they want to hear this stuff right now with you on a tennis court? Vivek, listen to this.
Hi everyone, Namaste. Wanted to wish you and everyone a happy Diwali. Diwali is the Hindu New Year, one of my favorite holidays. As a kid, it marks the triumph of good over evil, light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, and of course, hope over despair. So there's hope for my game.
Yeah, there definitely is. Yeah.
Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
Okay, I have no problem with the holiday. Happy Diwali, happy Hindu New Year. But did you listen to everything that it's supposed to bring?
Hi everyone, Namaste. Wanted to wish you and everyone a happy Diwali. Diwali is the Hindu New Year, one of my favorite holidays. As a kid, it marks the triumph of good over evil.
Okay, good over evil. I'm fine with that. You might not like Vivek, but he's not evil.
Light over darkness, knowledge
Okay, that's fine.
over ignorance,
Knowledge over ignorance.
and of course, hope over despair. So there's hope for my game.
Yeah, there definitely is. Yeah.
Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
I just overall have a problem with it. Like, has anybody gone to see what the comments are on that? You're gonna have a portion of the comments that are the butt kissers, but I would be really interested to see what the comments are under that. Like, I think at this point, man, you need to kind of, maybe send these out on a group message to your closest friends. I don't know that hitting IG, Vivek, and talking about knowledge over ignorance or whatever it was, it's not, you're rubbing Kings. I assume that rubs Kings fans the wrong way. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm happy to say I'm wrong if you guys feel completely different. Excited to watch the Kings. Rhino wasn't our best start when we had DNC. DMC. That's going to be really hard to do. Can we get a breakdown of how the Kings starter or probable starters match up with the Phoenix starters? Yes, we will do that tomorrow. 100%. When I have a better idea of who's going to be starting for the Kings. I mean, we know Eubanks will be starting, Schroeder will be starting, Levine, DeRozan. Is it going to be Saric? Is it going to... It's probably going to be Saric with him. That would be my guess. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. You guys are still saying good morning to each other. Daniel, what's up, dude? Not to be negative, but Booker gets 55. Kings lose by 25. Doug gone after an 0-12 start. No, I think the Kings will have a good shot at winning tomorrow. I do. In fact, I would say it's a game that they need to have. Does Monk have gas in the tank? Yes, I do believe he does have gas in the tank. I think that when it's game time, and I mean it counts, I've noticed, and we'll play some audio from yesterday. DeMar, he was asked to speak to the team by Coach Christie when they broke down, and his message was, look, now it's for real. Like, we start now. Like, it's 82 from here on out. I think this is the bite.
I mean, it's real. It's just everything, counts from here on out. Coming in tomorrow, going to be a day where we prepare for Phoenix. Next day, we're going to go play Phoenix, and everything from there once game one come, it's everything here. It's nonstop. So, just getting in the right mindset, and getting everybody ready.
Yo, if anybody from Hoops Hype is watching, will you quit using my material and crediting it to Reddit? Kind of getting annoyed with that. And by the way, thanks to the Kings, they did something really cool with my question to Westbrook during his introductory press conference on a social media post. Well done by them. Also, when we had talked to Russell the day before, he was asked, what's driving you? Like, what is it about this team that's driving it? And he said the doubters. And so I could not, and Hoops Hype quotes this now, but I could not play this full clip on the radio. I'll play it here for you now. I asked DeMar the same question. You feel?
Yeah. You got to find fuel wherever you can find it, and that's definitely one of them. To see those bullshit lists that they put out there, like, you definitely got to be fueled off that, without a doubt. So, just as much as him, we feed off that energy, and everybody else got to take that personal too.
See, I like that. I don't like when teams or players, unless that's truly what they do, and I guess it shouldn't be teams, it's players. Unless players truly do not read anything, they're not on social media, I hate the response that we don't pay attention to the noise. Be real. And DeMar, super real. Russ was super real about that too. So I can appreciate that answer. What you're looking at is the Kings preseason stats individually. And then on the right was the press release yesterday. That is the Kings opening day roster. Apparently there's some show right now on Netflix called Rushmore. And it has to do, and I don't know if it's strictly basketball, if it's going to be all sports, but an episode dropped today or yesterday about the Mount Rushmore of dunkers in the NBA. Which Sacramento King do you think Reggie Miller had on his Mount Rushmore? It was a Sacramento King that he put on the Mount Rushmore of dunkers of all time. Any guesses? There's a couple names that come to mind. There's a couple dunks that come to mind that they would never remember because they didn't see. Ronnie Price going baseline. Oh my gosh. See Ronnie elevate like that? That was unreal. Mo Evans, super cool guy, by the way. Mo Evans was so nice. Super humble. And then, of course, Gerald Wallace. Looking like he got picked up by an angel in the sixth man from the free throw line. Basically the free throw line. But like literal dunkers. Like guys that have done the dunk contest. Guys that have had some pretty crazy dunks in games and done it consistently. Like who do you think that King was? I think the name will surprise you. Rinsed, filter, and reused. Yeah, I did. And maybe that was the problem. Dude, if honestly, if that is feasible or was feasible, I would have tried it. That's how important coffee is to my mornings. What's up, Zach from Denver, Colorado, hosting a Kings watch party Friday. That's awesome, man. Zach, let us know how it goes. Hey, Zach, are you on the X? Zach, you on the X? If you are, hit me up, send me a text. Because if you're hosting a watch party, I'll get Grant to record a little something that you can surprise everybody with for your watch party. So hit me up if you can. Sacramento Kings posted your question and I credited you, Ryan. Oh, thank you, Ash. I didn't know if I don't care if they credited me or not, but thank you. Appreciate that. No, look, it was a good question. What can I say? And he messed with me too. If you heard the original audio, I'm like trying because like this the scrum was bigger than normal. Like, there's our normal scrums where 8 to 10 of us daily basis, but then if it's something like that, you get some of the bigger guns that show up and it gets a little more crowded, and that's how it was. It was closer to media day, and so I was trying to get my question off as fast as possible, and I asked it pretty early too, because people were not, hopping in there as quick as I thought they would, and he asked me to repeat it 3 times about Malik Monk saying that Russ is one of his favorite teammates of all time. There is, in fact, you know what? Why don't I play this? Because I do agree with Drew Eubanks about this. He talked about, and I want to make sure I get the right drop, but when Russ got to the facility, there is a little bit of there's an aura. There's a little bit of a vibe. And I don't mean like Prince hanging on the hoop, serving pancakes, but there's a presence when you're around Russ, and not in a bad way, but Drew even experienced that.
It was like 9 o'clock the other night before we played, or 9 a.m. I was on the table in the treatment room, and he walks in, and he didn't even have to say a word. You could just feel like the energy in the treatment room shift, and he's, talking to the rookies, giving them a bunch of flack, and we go to shoot around. The energy's just different today at practice. Coaches will say something, he'll add on more stuff, and it's like he just commands the room, commands the gym, and I feel like our guys are really going to gravitate towards that.
Okay, so Aaron, you are right, number one, and I blew my question to you. 2 Sacramento Kings were on his Mount Rushmore. Vince was one of them. Gerald Wallace was not. Rudy Gay was not. Kenny Smith was not. Good guess in Spud Webb. He was not. Terrence Williams. Nope. Rockland in the house here. What's up, Jeremy? Up in Rockland. I like Rockland. It's a cool area. I'm in Elk Grove. Well, I'm not in Elk Grove right now. I'm in closer to Sac proper right now. But we also have a place in Elk Grove. So, okay, keep guessing. I'll give you, well, this is going to give it away. He's a current Sacramento King. How about that? Lawrence Funderburg. Zach, if you heard what I said, hit me up. If you have X, I'll get Grant to record a thing for your watch party. Just like a little intro to blow your friends away. Since you're going through the trouble in Denver of doing a Kings watch party for their home opener. I love that. So anyways, we've got more audio to get to. I do want to get to this article from The Athletic. It is one bold prediction for every single team. We will get to that here in a second. I do want to hear some more from practice yesterday. Drew Eubanks again asked about what has been the biggest change or a positive coming out of training camp. No, not Barbosa. Got it. Zach LaVine. Yep. Cole Jr., excuse me. 1975. Zach LaVine. So Zach LaVine and Vince Carter were on Reggie Miller's. Yeah, Zach, hit me up. Hit me up here. Does Grant have my personal email here? We give them out usually all the time, so it's not a big deal. Here you go. Zach, hit me up right there. There you go. Rhino in Sacktown at gmail.com. But back to the point. Drew Eubanks, who will be the starting center, was asked about a positive coming out of training camp. And this is when the roles thing came up, in which I followed up and was like, did Doug finally do it? And he actually confirmed that, which was pretty cool. So here is Drew yesterday.
Probably just as cliche as it is, sorry, like just being more connected and getting used to playing with each other and knowing what we want, the looks, the shots that we need. Guys just kind of settling in their roles. I feel like first couple games, we played 2 run and jump teams in Portland and Toronto, and those are hard teams to play against early on in preseason. But I think just settling in our roles and guys just being comfortable with their identity.
Drew, has Coach Christie gone player by player and talked about each of your roles?
Yeah, we just did that this morning.
So that was a good confirmation. That is consistency from Doug Christie. Again, would like to be a fly on the wall for Keon Ellis's role. I think Drew would probably want to walk this back. I don't think he meant any shade by what he says about Sabonis here. I think he just worded it wrong. But here was Drew on some of the differences he brings to the starting lineup.
It was like 9 o'clock the other night before we played, or 9 a.m.
We've already played that one. I don't have these labeled. My bad. Here's Drew.
Yeah, I mean, obviously starting. I don't see my game really changing too much. I liked how we played the other night in LA. Really just getting the ball, facilitating a little bit more, putting a little bit more pressure on the defense, but mainly playing around Dennis, Zach, DeMar, being an outlet for them, picking up the pace a little bit. I know with Domas in, it kind of slows things down. So they just keep playing fast and getting guys open.
So there's Drew. Coach Christie yesterday also asked a few different things. One about Neek that I think, and remember what I said on Friday about Neek. I mean that is a very, very bold comment. Super bold. Looking for the audio of DeMar talking about Neek. It's a pretty striking quote.
I mean, it's real. It's just.
We already got that one. All right. Hopefully this is it. Can you feel?
Yeah.
That's me. Oh, do we not? I know we had it. All right. Well, anyways, I guess we don't have that one in the system. Darn it. That's a really good one. So anyways, let's get to Doug. Basically what DeMar says is Neek is asking questions. He has a smoothness to his game that you cannot teach. And he goes on to say he's going to be a star in this league. So then Doug was asked, and I'm going to let you guys read through these bold predictions until we get to the Kings one. I think the Kings is going to be one or two things. It's going to be something about Neek, or it's going to be, they're going to trade everything at the trade deadline. And it'll be something along those lines. That would be my guess. What do you think it will be? Here was Doug when he was asked if anything has surprised him about Neek.
It would be hard pressed to say, no, he hasn't surprised me. I mean, watching him once we drafted him, we got to work out with him the prior year, so got to see him. And then once we got him in a Sacramento Kings uniform, watching him in the summertime, immediately I was surprised by the reads that he made. Not all young players come off of a pick and roll and they're reading their progressions like a quarterback. And he's like pocket, low man, corner, and then he's even reading the guy that's behind him. Like, those are high level things. When he drove down the other night and he took the defense, brought him to him, and then dropped it off to Dario on the baseline. So probably that aspect of his game, but there's a part of him that doesn't really get rattled, and he just kind of plays his game. And I talked to him about, don't feel overwhelmed. Just go out there, play extremely hard, and we're going to learn together. Like, don't worry about it. I got you. And just watching him do his business and he does his film work. Encourage him to talk to DeMar, Zach, Dennis, and now Russ. Like, that is corporate knowledge that for him is like a PhD, master's degree, all in one. He just has to be willing to take the information in, and he is, to his credit, as a young player.
How about that? It's a heck of a statement by Doug Christie. Reading through progressions on the pick and roll as a rookie, that's not normal. Just saying. Golden State, here's a bold prediction. Golden State will make it to the Western Conference Finals. For the Pistons, it was Cade Cunningham will finish in the top 3 in MVP voting. I don't doubt that. Şengün will be second in triple doubles. The Pacers get to the second round without Tyrese Halliburton. Clippers, LA will match its best 20-game start under Tyronn Lue. Okay, it'll probably be followed by their worst 20-game stretch after the All-Star break, if anything is substantiated by the NBA in their investigation with this whole salary cap bypass with Steve Ballmer. I forget the name of the company. Starts with an A. Kawhi Leonard, etc. Memphis. Yeah, that's not really a bold prediction. Cam Spencer. Okay. Miami, Nikola Jovic challenges for most improved player. Okay. The Bucks will make more threes than any team. Whoa! The Timberwolves will win the championship? I have not looked at these. This is straight up. You think it's something out of a 2K team? Maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Wow. I don't, I'm not going to sit here and say OKC will repeat. I think it's somewhat likely because the NBA is constantly adjusting and evolving. You don't know what the whistle is going to be like this year. The new high five rule on defending a three-pointer. The Kings were called 3 times in 4 games for fouls on a three-point shooter. All those things are going to come into play. I don't see Minnesota winning a championship. I don't. They don't have enough. Mike Conley, I love Mike Conley's game. He's probably a future Hall of Famer. But he's just... He doesn't have enough gas. And Mike, please do not take this the wrong way. I don't think there's enough gas in that tank. There's enough gas in the tank to get to the playoffs, but once you get to the playoffs, it's not just about facilitating then. You're going to have to, because he'll be the guy that gets left wide open. He's going to have to be able to make shots. He's not been able to do that on a consistent basis. Also, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, sometimes they have the exact same problem that we've had in Sacramento with things getting stagnant. I know Edwards played hurt at the end of the playoffs last year. I just don't see it. They're going to be relying. They lost some pretty good players. Nickeil Alexander, one of them. They're going to be relying on young guys. I don't see that. Jordan Poole will break out. Will break the Pels season 3-point record. Oh my gosh, you're reaching. Knicks will win the East. Thunder. 3 Thunder players will make all NBA. Okay. We're getting closer to the Kings. The Magic will finish 3rd in the East. That's not bold. I think the Magic will be 2nd or 1st in the East. Philly. Embiid will play 58 games. Here's my bold prediction. Embiid and Paul George won't play 58 games combined. Phoenix, they'll win more games than last season. I agree. Portland, Young Hansen will be runner-up in the Rookie of the Year. All right. I am on record saying that Neek will make one of the all-rookie teams, and he will get at least 1 vote for Rookie of the Year. Sacramento Kings. Really? That's it? Russell Westbrook will help? And they need it? That's bold? Come on.
Below not good.
If you're going to go through the trouble of doing an article like this, and I really hope it's not my man Law Murray. I love Law. Is it Law? I think it's probably Law. Please don't be Law. I think it probably is, though. Oh, no, it's the athletic staff. Okay, good. We'll walk that back a little bit. Okay, so they put, what if Westbrook is really good for the Kings? I wrote recently Sacramento is a non-contending environment. Okay, so this came from likely Sam Amick. Non-contending environment where I could see him raising the floor on a low ceiling situation. This is far different than the high expectation teams he was on these past few years. And if this prediction comes true, it's fair to wonder how that might impact the starting point guard spot that veteran Dennis Schroeder was signed to fill. All right, so Sam's on the same page as me with this. I think, and Grant calls me crazy because of the dynamics, I think Schroeder, he's going to play. He will start. But at the end, Doug always says it matters who's on the floor at the end of games, not the beginning. That's what Doug always says. And I think when we look at the final box score, more times than not, once we get past game 25, assuming everybody stays healthy, or actually we need to be, let's back that up. When we get to the second half of the season, after the All-Star break, yeah, maybe that's too long. Let's walk that back too. When we get to 30 games, that's fair. When we get to 30 games, you have Keegan Murray back, Sabonis, hopefully all good, no re-injury on the hamstring. I think when we look at the box score, Schroeder is going to be the guy that has the least minutes out of the guards that are in the rotation. That's not bold at all. Sorry, Wembanyama will make the top 3 in MVP voting. Toronto, Ingram will be an all-star. Yeah, could. Markkanen will get traded by the trade deadline. All right. The Wizards' leading scorer will average under 20 points a game. So there's your NBA bold predictions. I think Rhino is getting hotter than his coffee. What do you mean? Why am I getting hotter than my coffee? Just saying, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up if you don't mind. Remember, you can always catch the audio of this show on Spotify and Apple, wherever you find your podcasts, if you are not able to listen live. Let's go to the phones. Mac, what's up, dude?
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm all right. I just have 2 things. I wanted to talk a little Kings and then say one quick thing about Notre Dame, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right. One thing I wanted to say about the Kings is, look, that we've seen a pattern with Vivek. He doesn't see personally. If I was the owner or had any deal with the Kings, or if I had to say, I'd like to see them kind of do what Oklahoma did, like maybe not be afraid to tank, not be afraid to lose, and build through the draft. I think that's the Oklahoma gave you the recipe to winning in a smaller environment, in a smaller location. I'd love to kind of see that. This team isn't, in my opinion, I don't think that this team's going to be great or much better than last year. So, why not go that route? I understand you have big contracts, but there's ways to lose, if that makes sense. Unfortunately, I know that Vivek's kind of not process, but just history has shown that he doesn't allow that to happen. And I think we're going to end up with 38 wins, which means we're in purgatory again. So I kind of like the addition of Russell Westbrook because it gives one positive, and that one positive is, gee, I got to go see Russell Westbrook, because as a fan, I don't see many positives going forward. And so if I'm to pay money, at least I could say, well, I saw Russell Westbrook. I know that's a very, very depressing take, but that's just my feeling. Am I really off on feeling that way? Or what do you think?
No, I think it's possible. In terms of 38 wins.
Yeah.
As far as doing what Oklahoma City did, yeah, the Kings have their next 7 first-round picks, Mac, but I'm sorry. Like, it's not that easy. If it was, every NBA team would do what Oklahoma City does, and Sam Presti is just, he's on a different level. He's in his own class. But here's what I'll tell you. Here's what I'll say. If the ideal situation in what you're saying,
yeah,
is letting the young guys play, and finding spots for the veterans here and there,
right?
And the key to that would then be not going through multiple head coaches. You've got Doug Christie. He's probably he probably has the lowest salary in the NBA. I bet he does. I bet there are some assistant coaches that are making more than Doug Christie. He's making $2 million a year reportedly, this year, next year. And then in the third year, the money goes up. I don't know how much, but keep that squad under Doug. So at least there's that consistency as well. Don't make a change until you're ready to make a change. And that's where I think that whole thing could come completely off the tracks.
Yeah. I mean, look, Ryan, there are pieces, and I have a vibe that, and maybe I'm off on this too, but I wonder if Keon Ellis is not the front office's long-term case, because we haven't really heard a lot about extension, like in the papers or anything, extension talks. They got Keegan Murray locked in. Maybe they're saying, okay, we'll go Murray now, Keon. I wonder if that's the case, well, that's a nice piece to trade. I think you could get a late first rounder for Keon Ellis. I think there's value in Monk and Sabonis. And if you're going to tank, or not tank, let's not call it that, but think of a rebuild, you're thinking of winning in 5 years. Well, is Sabonis going to help you now? And I think that's a contract, and that's a player people would be willing to take, and you could get high return. So it's not impossible, Ryan. It's just the Kings won't do that, and that it's like they flirt, they stay in the middle, and it's just for 20 years, or with the exception of 1 year, they don't go anywhere, if that makes sense, and that's frustrating for me as a fan. So,
no, I hear you.
So I feel the same way I did about Vince Carter signing as I do Russell Westbrook. It's like, well, at least I got to, if I'm going to pay money, which and go to the games, which I'm sorry, I'm a sucker for doing it, but I do it. I can at least say I saw Vince Carter or I saw Russell Westbrook. That's where I'm at with this team. That's how low my expectations are.
So really quick, that's the double-edged sword. There's 3 things I want to respond to, and I know you still want to talk Notre Dame really quick. The first is, if you see Keon Ellis as part to the future, which I 100% do.
Yes.
Why do you bring in Russell Westbrook?
That's
what message does that send to Keon Ellis? Unless, go ahead.
I don't think he is in their future, and that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna, you don't want to lose any player for free, and that's what I'm saying. I think later in the season, that would be an attractive piece. Would you not think that way?
You're definitely, for me, I don't think you would be getting fair compensation for what you're going to get on the upside with Keon. I just don't think you do. I think you'd come away from a trade like that feeling very similar to the way that you did with Valanciunas for Saric. And then also to your Sabonis point, I don't think he's as easy to trade as a lot of people do. If the right offer came along, like if a team came knocking, and I'm going to use Orlando as the example, where they went to Memphis and they said, we don't care, name the price, we need Desmond Bane, we're getting Desmond Bane. And, you know, they got a haul for Desmond
Right.
Bane. And the reason they did that is because Miami, they've done a pretty good rebuild, and they've targeted, so is Portland, by the way, but they targeted and they knew exactly what they wanted. That's what they feel takes them over the top, and they were willing to pay a higher price than the market to get that player into their building. If a team like that came knocking for Sabonis, yes. But I think Sabonis, with his skill set, he's not necessarily a plug and play guy in every system. I think that there is a limited market for Sabonis at that price point. Now, would every team in the NBA like to have Sabonis? Sure. But they're not going to take Sabonis at that price point just for the rebounding, the hustle, the heart. You know,
Here's my question, because you know basketball a lot better than me. You know the Kings. Again, my thought is, if you were to rebuild, which I don't think this team is, but let's hypothetically, right? Wouldn't Sabonis will be in his mid-30s, right? Right when you start getting good. Could you not get a middle first-round pick for him? Like, and wouldn't that be okay if you're just completely tearing it down?
Well, here's again where I have you're not.
I'm just asking.
No, I know we're going hypothetical. And
Yes.
I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole.
Sorry,
but no, you're fine. I just, for me, and I've said it, I've made it very clear. I want to come away from this season. I'm not looking at wins and losses as much as I am looking at
growth,
confirming, like literally confirming which pieces, there's pieces we think could be part of this future. And when I say pieces, like I'm not going to use the championship word, but to have a very well-rounded, deep basketball team, you need to have certain guys in certain roles that just absolutely flourish in those spots. Keegan Murray, obviously one of them. I truly believe Keon Ellis is going to be the other. Nick Clifford, I want to come away and saying, man, this kid's special. He's part of the future of this team. And I guess lastly, Max a little bit, but I think his progression is going to be a little bit slower. But if I can have those four together and the Kings are in on those four, and the biggest question is Keon Ellis, then you can start building. Because then if the Kings were to hit it right and get a bona fide superstar in the draft, you are now accelerated. I don't think you're on a 5-year timeline. You're probably on closer to a 2 to 3 year timeline, because then you see a season of fun basketball. You have that superstar if they turn out, and now people want to come play in Sacramento too. And if Sabonis is part of that, that's perfectly fine. And that timeline also fits Zach LaVine's contract expiring. Fits DeMar DeRozan. So yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at.
That's a very good point, because I was thinking more of even longer. But yeah, you're right. That's a good point. One last thing I wanted to about college football and Notre Dame. One, holy Toledo. I don't know if you saw it, but Carr had a horrible game, and they, in my opinion, I think they just killed USC. And I've asked Grant this, and I want to know your thoughts. Do you think Lincoln Riley he's got to go now at USC? Like, this is, you've been at USC for this is your 5th year. You've lost 4 times to Notre Dame. You're now a 2-loss team, and it's not looking good. You still got to play Oregon and big hitters. You may not even make the Big Ten championship. For a program like USC, would you agree? Like he's got to go. Like there's better. I think there's better talent out there. What do you think?
It's really hard to judge these days. We used to judge coaches on 5 years, right? Because the first year they come in, you're inheriting, a team plus the recruits from that previous coach.
Right.
And then you start recruiting your own players and you get them in for a couple of years. And now you can start to see whether this is going to work or not. Now with the transfer portal, it just adds a completely different dimension to how you judge a coach and how quickly something could turn around. On a traditional schedule of how you judge a coach, yes, I think you would be gone. But you also need to evaluate what else is on the market, and you got to be realistic too about what that coach brings with him in terms of a following, in terms of boosters, because there are boosters that go school to school with coaches, it just like people will go with players instead of the team. So yeah, you probably have to move on. This Brian Kelly stuff at LSU, I don't know how much longer that can go on.
No.
It's just incredibly difficult to watch.
Well, that's the point I was about to say, is it looks like you're going to have two good coaches available. No matter what you say about James Franklin not winning the big game, he got that program that was dead from that scandal.
I agree. That's a great point, Matt.
And he took that and he got recruits, got kids to come to a school
100%.
that had a horrible reputation. And maybe he didn't win the big game, but he got you to the big game.
You freaking nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. That
that would be a good, if USC was thinking maybe we go get Franklin and see what we want. And even Brian Kelly, so LSU's not working for him. But I'm going to tell you what Brian Kelly did do. He revived, as a Notre Dame fan, I hate how he left, and I'm very disgruntled at him. But he revived a program that was not going anywhere. And he took kids who had to have an A- GPA to just get on the football team. And he did something with them. Again, may not have won the big game, but got you to the big game. And so with Lincoln Riley not like struggling, I can't not think that there aren't internal talks of what if Franklin or Kelly, what could they do in here? That's just my thought.
I think Kelly would be an awful place or awful coach to go to UFC or USC.
Yeah.
I do not see that
he's got
turning out well.
Temper and he's fake
at all. I mean, he's just
that's a great question.
He's just he's fake, even from the LSU stuff when that first basketball game that he's walking out
with the accent,
it's so great to be here tonight with my family. It's like, come on, bro, just stop. So, Hey, Mac, I appreciate it. Thanks for the call, brother.
Bye. Hey, best wishes to your family and everybody, and have a great day.
Yep, you too, bro.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff from Mac. I know he's a teacher, so appreciate him calling in this morning. Yeah, Peter, dude, I cannot, and the coffee is marginally hot still, actually. Yeah, it's drinkable, but we do need to wrap up because I need to get to the G1C here in about an hour. Jock Sniffer didn't want to draft another European player. No, okay, if we're going to open this can of worms again between Luka and I'll end here, Peter, I don't care. Usually I'm not a fan of people texting me if they have my text, if it's random stuff or it's just thoughts on the team. That bugs me, but will not bug me, Peter, is a text message later today that says coffee filters, because it will not be in my mind by 6:00 tonight when I'm driving home, 6:30 by the time I get the show edited. So all good. Send me a text. Remind me of that. Let's end here. Grant always says, and this came up yesterday, because somebody asked how Grant would judge Vlade Divac as a general manager. And Grant said, well, he's always going to be judged on passing on Luka and choosing Bagley. And then he goes, and this is kind of the follow-up that he usually adds, but you have to remember other teams passed on Luka as well. Here's my take on that whole thing. You would have had to completely transform that roster if you drafted Luka. And I mean transformed it. At a time where guys were not who they ended up or turned into, like a De'Aaron Fox. He was not an all-star yet. You would have had to flip a lot of different players, including the guy the Kings were currently building around, for Luka. And you don't know how well that would have turned out either. Yeah, you might have had Luka Doncic, but it might be like Melo in Charlotte, where you're not winning, but you're balling because you're the only good piece on the team. I think that, and I've never asked Vlade that. I will eventually, the next time I see him. I'll ask Grant too. But you have to think that was a massive consideration. Not just by Vlade Divac, and it was a bet too. And Vlade's come out and talked about that with De'Aaron. Like, he never thought De'Aaron was going to be the piece that got you a championship. He just, and I'm paraphrasing, he thought he was going to be one of the 1B. Not a 1A, a 1B. So, I think it also plays into other teams passing on Luka as well. But we're so far beyond that. It is what it is. Look, Dallas has more resources than the Kings. They do. They had Mark Cuban, who is pouring money constantly into that program to improve every little thing. And I know Mark Cuban is not the managing partner now of the Mavericks, but at the time he was. And they still could not get Luka to stay in shape. They still could not get Luka on board. They had to deal with the behind the scenes issues with Luka, which there were a lot of, which ultimately ended up in them trading Luka. They just couldn't do it anymore. So while, yes, Luka would have been the correct pick today, I'm telling you, it's not smooth sailing like you think it would have been. Like, if you think that would have been the Kings in the NBA Finals 2 years ago, you're wrong. There was so much more that needed to be turned over for that to work. Fox and Luka would never work. You can't do it. Luka needed the ball in his hands. And if you ask Fox to play off the ball, what's he going to do? Shoot threes. Would have been very, very hard. That still would have been a very uphill battle. So Bagley fit into what the Kings needed. So anyways, I don't want to get off track on that. But let's wrap up. I will be at practice today. Media availability is at 12:30. So looking forward to getting you some sound. Don't forget, we are back on the radio here in just about, let's see, we got 5 hours till the show? No, 4 hours. 4 hours until the Grant Napier Show, Fox Sports Radio. If you haven't already, make sure you download the KSAC app, Fox Sports Sacramento, Google Play, Apple Store. You can listen from anywhere if you have cell phone reception or an internet connection. No geo boundaries. We have people listening internationally on the app, completely free. Also, if you're not able to listen to the show live, you can catch all 3 hours presently and temporarily being hosted on Grant's podcast site if you don't like that. Also, our first hour replays from 6 to 7 p.m. So lob us a call. We'd love to have some of these conversations with you. 916-779-0929. Sean Salisbury joins us today. I believe Grant's going to give you his top 5 teams in the NFL. We'll have much more from the Kings and your calls. You can text that number as well too. So very, very good stuff. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to be back on the radio. My pleasure. Cool. Awesome. I'll get Grant to do a little thing for you. That'll surprise. How many people are you hosting? How many people? Papa G. What's up, Tris? I don't remember Papa G. Are you talking about Baba G? Kyle Draper? Are we just naming random names? I like Drapes. Drapes, good dude. Awesome. All right. There you go. Have a good one. I'll see you on the radio here in about 4 hours. Go Kings. We'll see the Kings off to Phoenix here after practice. They are on their way to the start of 82. Are y'all ready to get on the coaster? Get in line. Are you going to be in the front side of the coaster? Are you going to be in the middle part? You want to be in the back? Is it going to be smooth? Is it going to be bumpy? Is it going to be wooden? We'll see. Just about 36 hours away from tip-off for the Kings. NBA season tips off tonight. Houston, OKC, Golden State, and the Lakers, NBC, Peacock, all the coverage there. We'll see you today, Fox Sports Radio at 3 p.m. Go Kings, light the beam. We up.
Order in the court.